section of the board.
Yeah.
Okay. Sends on fader. Okay. If I push this aux1, all of these faders feed aux1.
Okay.
If I push aux2, all of these faders feed aux2.
But aux2 and 1 aren't set up yet. None of them are set up, right?
Well, here's what we got. aux1, first of all, we don't need those up, right? But aux1, aux2, aux3, aux4, none of these are set up. aux1 and aux2 are going to be your monitor feeds.
Right.
Okay. So, if I push aux1, what is aux1? Well, that's the feed to monitor 1,
Set,
right?
yeah.
It's the aux mix to monitor 1. So at this point, if I want keyboard and vocal in monitor 1, I would bring up the amount of keyboard and vocal I want right here.
Right.
And I'm doing it that way for show and tell.
Right.
Okay. So here she is in the mix. Here she is in the monitor.
Okay.
Okay. That's it. Done.
Yep.
Okay. Now, master levels on monitor. So if I really want to look at aux1 and look at that master mix, I go up here and I go to output and I see aux1. They're turned on. So 1 is on to it. These are all turned on
Right.
already for you.
Right.
So any faders you bring up are going to feed through that.
Yeah.
Well, where does aux1 go? It goes to
Monitor.
output 1 on the box.
Right.
Not input, output 1,
Right.
right? And output 1 goes to the monitor amp that feeds monitor 1.
Okay.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah.
It's very direct. Very
As
direct.
long as it's wired right.
And it is, well, we know it is because it passed.
Okay.
And everything's digital going down a Cat 6 cable.
I mean, do we hook up the
We haven't hooked it up yet.
Yeah. Right.
But 1 is 1, 2 is 2 over there, all the way through 6. 7 and 8 are hijacked. Those are your master left and right outputs. Okay? So you got these 6 that show up on the box.
Yeah.
Okay? The other aux sends, including these stereo sends, can feed out of the back of the board, out of local, to other things you have going, like your downstairs.
Okay, I got you.
Okay? So I can take any one of these mixes, like if 1 through 6 show up on the box, right? 7 and 8 don't show up on the box because 7 and 8 are the master outputs. So if I take 7 and 8 here, and I take 7, if I go to 7 here, well, let's go back to the custom group just to show you. Okay. If I take 7 here, all of this is now mixing 7. So if I have 7 feeding downstairs out of the back of the board, I take number 7 output and I run 7 output to feed downstairs. How do you feed downstairs? Do you do from a wire here?
Yeah, I got
What do you run to?
wired into this amp and then wires going down to speakers.
Okay,
It's
so you take
jury-rigged.
the wire, yeah, so you take wire number 7
Yeah.
or number 7 output, you bring that wire right to the input on the amplifier, and then whatever you bring up will be the mix or the volume that you're hearing downstairs. Okay? Now, there are other ways we can do it. We can actually take the output of the master, the left and right feed, the mix, and feed that to 7.2. But I would probably use faders because I might want the mix a little different through that system than I have through this system.
But what it probably needs is, it needs to be EQ different.
Well, right, and so if you go to mix number 7, let's go to the outputs again. Here's number 7, right? If I select it, number 7 here, and I go to here, here's send,
Yeah.
okay? Here's the 31 band EQ that I have for downstairs. Oh, I just went off of it. But I have all of this stuff. There's my auxes. Let's go back to 7.
Oh, you gotta hold it. There it goes, that's it.
Okay. So now I'm feeding, whatever I'm feeding is either pre or post
So is this
out
gonna
here.
react on the
No, this doesn't react, but the channels themselves will react only to here. So from this number 7, aux 7, here are my pre or post. So I want pre-fader on the pulpit, pre-fader on the keyboard, pre-fader on the vocal, whatever I want pre-fader on, I just go down here and I have them as pre. If I want post-fader, that means whatever I do with the fader here, they'll hear it change downstairs. Okay? So if I go pre-fader and I go to aux 7 here, let's come back to this, okay, and I go aux 7 here, all of these faders are now the level that I'm sending downstairs. All right? Now, if I go post fader, that means the level difference that I have here is what you're going to hear through the downstairs. My thinking is you want this post.
Post fader?
Yeah, because you want her voice this loud and you want the piano this loud. If you go pre-fader, it's taking it directly out of the preamps settings. You following me?
Yeah.
So I would probably myself go to post on that, and that way when I turn off the pastor's mic, it turns off downstairs.
Yeah.
When I turn on the vocal mic, it turns on downstairs. When I do this, it does that. When I bring a fader all the way down, it not only brings it down in here, brings it down out there.
So how do you change from post, pre and
Okay,
post?
so you go back to the output group, number 7, select, okay? 7, sends on fader, sends from fader. You hit that send from, and you just go to each of those channel, and you do this, and now you're post. That's all there is to it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. But then, do you have to change this or not?
No,
You don't mess with that.
you don't mess
What
with
is that for?
Well, let me show you.
Okay.
If I go back to here for a second, okay, aux 7, and I bring those up like that, let's say, right? Now, if I go back to the output on 7, and I look at 7 and do the sends from,
Oh, okay.
see the faders are
So you
already
could,
there.
you could literally just do it from here.
You could literally just do
You
it
don't
from
have
here.
to switch scenes to do it.
You don't have, see, this, once all these are on, they're on. Once you get pre or post set, it's set. Leave it alone, okay? And then you're doing everything literally from this scene. So if I push aux 7, everything will now show on aux 7 just this way. That's not the house mix.
Right.
That's aux 7. So there's aux 7, everything is green, meaning you're not mixing the house. Okay? So now if I go back to 7 and I look at 7, look at that. It's just what I did on the faders.
But they're all pre.
But they're all pre unless I turn them post and then save as post.
And then save the scene and all of it.
Exactly.
So they always go back to pre if you don't save?
No, no.
We never changed them.
They were never saved because they were never changed.
Okay.
Okay? So if I was to save it right now, my faders would look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the pre would be turned off on those other channels.
Okay.
Okay.
And you had it set early, where you have just, pre would be just like my vocal, my keyboard, and those, and everything else turned off?
Pre is what the house is
No.
doing.
Okay,
Pre-fader means that it is taking its signal for the monitor before the house. Okay? Before I do anything on faders.
okay,
So it's taking it out of the preamps
okay.
and basically sending it.
So
okay?
then when he
and
does it-
everything I do is on that mix then. So if I am on custom and I have this mix as number 7, here's my house mix.
Okay,
Okay?
that's the one I was talking
Right, and here's aux 7.
Oh, it's different than the house mix.
I just cleared my aux 7 send, which is different than the house mix. And if I go back to the house mix, there's my house mix.
In our instance, you would be using aux 7 to send what you were
Downstairs,
sending downstairs.
right.
And you do want
Aux
different.
1 is what we would send to you on the keyboard.
Okay, that would be that.
Right. And when you get your in-ear set up, you can still be aux 1. You just
Oh.
tell the thing that aux 1
One.
is the in-ear, not the floor monitors.
Right.
Or you take number 4, which isn't being used right now for anything. And 1 and 2 are still a powered monitor in case you ever need the
Something.
powered monitors, the monitor feeds
Just in case.
to
yeah.
power. Okay? So you can put 3, 4, 5, and 6 could all be in ears.
Mhm.
Okay? And then on the phone, you would call up that app and you would go, your monitor number or mix number 4, aux 4. And you know that every time you look, you touch aux 4 as your mix. And then
And
you
then
go
I
ahead and
can-
do whatever you want to do.
And that would be post.
Those would be pre.
Those would be pre. Okay.
Because you want to get
You
your
want your own
signal
mix.
before he starts messing
You're
with
getting a raw,
faders.
clean channel.
Oh,
to do
pre
whatever
is
you want
clean.
with.
Pre is before he does anything to mess up faders.
Okay. And then when he does stuff, I'm not even getting it.
It doesn't matter to you.
Right.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
So it has to be in pre.
So let me ask you this, let's say she has a in-ear monitor system set up, and she's getting a pre-fader signal. Will it have any of the EQ that I've set up for the house on that channel that's going to her?
That's what I wanted to see. I
Okay.
don't know, on my board, I can pick where the signal comes
Yeah,
from,
I can-
where
I
I'm
get
taking
you.
it. I don't know if on this you
So
can.
then she would have to EQ her own stuff, or we'd have to figure that out?
No, you just have to see if she's okay with it the way it is.
Right.
Because she's mostly
I
just
just
trying
need
to
to
hear
hear.
volume, she wants to hear.
Yeah.
You
I
know.
don't have to have it EQ'd just right.
Let me just take
But
a
it's nice.
quick look.
But it is not. Of course, it's the prettier the better.
So
The prettier I hear, the prettier I sing.
I was thinking this thing up here is where you see all the inputs and outputs, don't you?
It's
Yeah.
nice.
That says,
And you have your
see,
global.
that says pre-high pass.
Yeah, yeah, so pre-high pass, right now, well, it depends on
What scene you're on?
what scene you're on and what you have held, but you have post on or pre-high pass. You don't want pre-high pass. You want that low end rolled off.
Yeah.
So you don't want it on pre-fader, post on, there you go.
There you go.
So you can have it pre-high pass, pre-fader, or post on.
But
You
that's-
can't take it post EQ.
But you need to put it on the,
Right.
don't you need to put it on the aux scene to do that before you start doing that, or not?
Yeah.
So you're dealing with a
You can
custom scene right now.
You can do it to all your outputs because
So,
this
yeah.
doesn't move.
Oh,
So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick a group that you want to affect,
okay.
okay? And then you go ahead and say, well, I want to affect number 1 through 8. Okay,
And then
there
you
you
hit
go.
this.
Then you hit
And
that,
then you go post on.
yeah.
Post on or
No,
post fader?
you want pre-fader, don't you?
Yeah,
You want pre-fader.
Yeah.
But that pre-fader, I bet you, is post EQ.
Okay.
Because you have post high pass,
But that won't hurt anything really.
and then you have pre-high pass, which is right out of the preamp.
We don't want.
And then you got pre-fader. I would take her stuff pre-fader.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So the
So-
input is pre-fader and the output is pre-fader. So there's the difference.
Right.
So you could output post, right? That would be post fader. Well,
Well,
how do you do that? I mean,
no,
how can you
it's
possibly do
pre-fader.
that?
It's pre-fader
Pre-fader.
on 1 through 8. So the feed that you're gonna take downstairs, you might use 9 through 20 over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you could put these as pre or post, excuse me, but these is post and these is pre.
So you can change those. Right?
You just slide it over. Yeah.
Yeah, so those can change. You just tap on them. So where was this? Pre-high pass?
Yeah,
And this was
I don't remember.
post-op?
Don't save it.
Well, whatever it was, we have it saved.
Yeah.
If I go back here and hit recall,
There it is.
we're back. Okay, so whatever it was, there it was.
Just go back to this.
Yeah?
Post on,
Yeah.
So this didn't change.
So now
what's-
that you can tell it whether you want to do a group, whether you want to do individuals as a group, or whether you want single fader.
So is post on after he's EQ'd it?
If you do